Um, we are on the communication skills. Okay, communications skills is a short course in which today we'll be learning more about communication. First thing that you have to know is to know what communication is. Now, what is communication? What is communication? Communication is a two-way process whereby a sender sends a message to a receiver and the receiver reacts by providing feedback. Now, as I have started the conversation, meaning that I am a sender. As I have started the conversation, meaning that I am a sender. As you are listening, meaning that you are the receivers. Okay? We have the categories of communication. The categories of communication, number one, we have intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is a communication between two people or more. Okay? E.g., it can be in verbal, okay, in which is speaking face to face. It can be in writing or written, in which it can be in a form of a letter or email. That is what we call intrapersonal communication. The second one, we have intrapersonal communication. Remember, the first is interpersonal. The second one is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is the process by which an individual communicates within themselves. It's a communication within yourself. Okay? Now, this kind of communication is whereby, as a person or individual, you act as both a sender and a receiver at the same time. Because it's whereby you'll be asking yourself questions and answering yourself questions. Okay? Number three, we have extra-personal communication. Extra-personal communication, in this type of communication, understanding is required between the sender and the receiver, in which the receiver responds by a sign language. It's whereby, if I can give an example, if you call a dog, you say, then the dog will respond by coming. Okay? It's an example of extra-personal communication. Now we have mass communication. Mass communication. Mass communication is a communication whereby a sender sends a message to a large number of people who don't know each other. For an example, we have a television, we have radio, we have social media, we have billboard, and etc. It's where, as a sender, I send an information to large numbers of receivers who don't know each other. If I give an example, if I'm a radio presenter, meaning that whatever information I send, those who are listening, they are the receivers. They don't know each other. But as a sender, I have sent an information to what? To large number of people who don't know each other. Mass communication is similar to intrapersonal communication. But the difference is that on interpersonal communication, it's a communication whereby you talk to people that you know. Not exactly that you know, but people who you are
face to face.
Thank you. And then on mass communication is that you send an information to large number of people who don't know each other. We have types of communication. Types of communication. Now, the first one, we have verbal communication. What is verbal communication? Verbal communication is the use of words and language. Okay? of conveying a message. Communication are conversation, speech, okay, presentation, and having a phone call. Now, for an example on this one, on verbal communication, if I call my assistant, my PA now, I'm using what? That is a verbal communication. If I present or do speech in a class, mean that I'm using what? Verbal communication. Right? We have non-verbal communication in which it refers to the ways in which being conveying information about their emotions, needs, attitude, throughout without using what? Verbal communication. In which, now only this one, you can able to communicate but not using what? Verbal communication. It's whereby if I give an example on this one, I greet you, say hi, for an example, and then you wave hand to me. That is a what? It's a response, but it didn't use types of communications. Okay, communication. Yes, communication. Now, first one we have verbal communication. Verbal communication is the use of words, language of conveying a message. E.g., communication is a conversation, okay, a speech or a presentation, and having a what? A phone call. Now, if I communicate with somebody through a call, mean that I have used what? Verbal communication. Okay? Number two, we have non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication refers to ways in which being conveying information about their emotions, needs, attitude, through without use of verbal language. Okay? Now here, for an example, if I say hi, waving a hand to you, and then you respond to me too by waving a hand. That's what we have used a verbal communication. Okay? We have written communication. Written communication means sending of messages, orders, instructions in writing through letter, manual reports, telegram, office memos, billboard, and etc. Now, if I give example on this one, sometimes when you go out, you don't have to ask where's FNB. You have already so bored that okay, there's FNB on this building, or perhaps for if you want a police station, when you are busy traveling, you will get a board where it shows you that okay, 10 kilos to police station. Okay, that is what they've used written communication. We have listening. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret message in the communication processes. Now, listening is the key to all effective communication, in which if you don't listen attentively, the message can be misunderstood. Okay? For example, let's say I said to you, can you please bring marker, and then you didn't listen. You go wherever you go, and then you come back with a pen. That's different. Okay? Now we have visual communication. Visual communication is a practice of using elements to communicate information, okay, or ideas. For an example, we have a pie chart, we have videos, screenshot, slide presentation, and etc. Those are also part of what? Of communication, in which falls under visual communication. Right. Three levels of management in communication. Three levels of management in communication. Now, in communication itself, there is a top level of management, there is a lower levels of management, and the middle levels of management and the lower levels of management. Now, the instructions come from the top levels of management, whereby the top level of management doesn't go and give the instruction to the general workers. Okay? This is how it will operate. The top level of management, in which is where we have a CEO, for example, president, and etc. Give the middle level of management the instruction, in which here we have a manager, we have HR, and etc. The top give the instruction to the lower level, the middle level of management, and the middle levels of management give it to the lower levels of management, in which is where we have the supervisor, and the supervisor give it to the general workers. Now, and again, if the general workers have got a complaint, they have to take that complaint. They don't take that complaint straight to the top of management. It goes accordingly. Meaning that the general workers will tell the supervisors. The supervisor will take that complaint if they don't know how to deal with it to the middle level of management. And then, if still they fail to solve their issue, and then is where the middle level of management will take that complaint to the top level of management. Okay? That is what we call the three levels of management in communication.